What if there was a single human who could absorb the abilities of anyone they killed? Not metaphorically, not spiritually, but literally. Every person they eliminate, their strength doubles, their speed doubles, their intelligence compounds. Imagine one individual with this terrifying ability driven by an unstoppable urge to eliminate all of humanity. They wake up tomorrow morning with this power and this singular goal. No one knows they exist. No one knows what's coming. And here's the truly frightening part. They start as just an average person, maybe even weaker than average. But with each life they take, they become exponentially more dangerous. Let's establish the complete scenario up front. This individual gains everything from their victims. If they can bench press 50 kilograms and they kill someone who can also bench press 50 kilograms, they can now bench press 100 kilograms. If they can run at 5 meters per second and eliminate someone with the same speed, they're now running at 10 meters per second. But it's not just physical attributes. They absorb intelligence, knowledge, skills, kill a mathematician, gain their understanding of calculus, kill a soldier, acquire their combat training, kill a doctor, obtain their medical knowledge. The accumulation is immediate and permanent. Now, let's explore what would actually happen if this nightmare scenario became reality. The first kill would be the hardest. Our subject is just an ordinary human, perhaps struggling to overpower even one person. But here's where human cunning comes into play. They don't need to win a fair fight. A knife in the dark, a push down the stairs, poison in a drink. History is filled with examples of physically weak individuals eliminating stronger opponents through deception and planning. And once that first victim falls, everything changes. Instantly, they're twice as strong as they were, twice as fast. Their mind processes information at double the speed. If their victim knew anything useful, a second language, how to pick locks, where to find weapons, all of that knowledge floods into their consciousness. The second kill becomes exponentially easier, and the third even more so. Let me paint you a picture of how quickly this spirals out of control. After just 5 kills of average people, our subject is already operating at superhuman levels. They can run faster than any Olympic athlete who ever lived. They can lift weights that would challenge professional strongmen. But more terrifyingly, their intelligence has compounded to genius levels. They're not just physically superior, they're strategically brilliant. By 10 kills, bullets might not even penetrate the skin anymore. Think about it. Human skin has a certain resistance to penetration. Stack that resistance 10 times over and you're looking at natural armor. Their bones would be denser than steel. Their muscles would have the power to punch through concrete walls. And their mind? With 10 times the processing power of a normal human, they'd be making calculations and predictions that would seem like precognition to us. After 20 kills, they'd be moving so fast that security cameras would only capture blurs. They could run through a crowded shopping mall, eliminating dozens of people before anyone even realized what was happening. Each new victim makes them faster, stronger, smarter. It's an exponential growth curve that quickly reaches incomprehensible levels. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. After 100 kills, and remember, at their current speed and strength, they could achieve this in minutes. They'd be moving at roughly 500 meters per second. That's faster than the speed of sound. They could literally run through buildings, the sheer force of their movement causing massive structural damage. They wouldn't need weapons. At that velocity, their body itself becomes a projectile weapon capable of devastating destruction. The military response would be useless. By the time armed forces mobilize, our subject has already accumulated hundreds, possibly thousands of kills. Conventional weapons can't touch them. They're moving too fast to target, too durable to damage. Nuclear weapons? By the time the decision is made to use them, our subject has the intelligence of 1,000 minds working in perfect synchronization. They predict the strike, calculate the blast radius, and simply be somewhere else when it hits. At 1,000 kills, the laws of physics start to bend around them. They're running at speeds approaching a significant fraction of light speed. The friction from air resistance alone should incinerate them, but their durability has scaled to impossible levels. They're essentially a living particle accelerator, capable of reducing entire cities to rubble just by passing through them. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect isn't the physical transformation, it's the mental one. With each kill, they don't just gain raw intelligence, they gain perspectives, memories, experiences. After 1,000 kills, they carry within them the complete life experiences of 1,000 people, every language on earth, every skill ever learned, every piece of knowledge ever acquired by their victims. They become less of an individual and more of a collective consciousness housed in a single, impossibly powerful body. The compound intelligence would allow them to solve problems instantaneously that would take teams of scientists years to unravel. They could probably cure cancer, develop faster than light travel, or unlock the secrets of consciousness itself. But they won't, because their sole drive is elimination, not creation. Within hours of the first kill, major population centers would be empty. Within days, entire continents would be devoid of human life. The exponential growth means that the more people they eliminate, the faster they can eliminate the rest. It's a cascade effect that, once started, becomes impossible to stop. Consider the global implications. Governments would collapse within hours as leadership is eliminated. The communication networks would fail as infrastructure is destroyed by the subject's mere passage. Survivors would scatter, but where could they hide from someone who can search an entire continent in minutes? Underground bunkers? They'd be torn open like tissue paper. Remote islands? They'd be reached in seconds. Space stations? Without ground support, they'd eventually have to return to Earth, where death awaits. The real horror is the inevitability of it all. Once the process begins, mathematics determines the outcome. Each kill makes the next one easier, faster, more certain. It's not a question of if humanity would survive, but how long we'd last. The conservative estimate? Less than a week. The realistic estimate? 48 hours. The worst case scenario? 6 hours from the first kill to the last human on Earth. In the end, our subject would stand alone on a dead planet. 7 billion minds churning within one consciousness. The combined strength of all humanity packed into a single form. They'd be a god in every practical sense, capable of feats that defy comprehension. But they'd also be utterly alone, having destroyed the very species they once belonged to. This scenario reveals a fundamental truth about power and destruction. Give someone the ability to grow stronger with each victory, and if their only goal is victory itself, the outcome is predetermined. It's a mathematical certainty, as inevitable as gravity. The snowball becomes an avalanche. The spark becomes an inferno. What makes this hypothetical so chilling isn't just the destruction it describes. It's how plausible the progression seems once you accept the initial premise. We've all seen how advantages compound in the real world. The rich get richer. The powerful gain more power. This scenario just takes that principle and applies it to its absolute terrifying extreme. So what if one human could absorb the abilities of anyone they killed? The answer is simple and horrifying. Humanity wouldn't stand a chance. Not because we lack the will to fight or the ingenuity to develop countermeasures, but because mathematics itself would be our enemy. In a game where every victory makes the next victory easier, the only winning move is to never let the game begin.